What's up, bro? Welcome back to Cancel Thoughts. It's your boy, Better Days here. I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently today, guys. I'm going to be talking to you guys about basketball because it's one of the few things in this world that I really care about. And you guys do obviously already see the occasional basketball video that I try to throw in there every now and then. But most of you guys don't necessarily notice, but I am a real big basketball fan. It's something that I've been in love with since I was about 8 years old. And I want to talk to you guys about it because I am really concerned about the whole state of the NBA.
And I don't think I'm alone here.
I just want to talk to you guys about it a little bit. But before we get into it, you guys already know I'm about to ask you guys to do me a solid and hit that like and subscribe button for more content. Trying to make sure as many people find this channel as possible. And the only way I'm going to do that is with you guys' help. At time of recording, guys, it is February 16th, 2025. It is All-Star weekend. It is about 3 hours before the All-Star game on Sunday, and it's about a week right after the Super Bowl. And I only bring up the Super Bowl because I've never really been a football fan. I've never really cared about football and the outcomes of the NFL or whatever. But this year specifically,
for whatever reason,
I found myself being a lot more excited to watch the NFL Super Bowl than I've ever really been. And part of it is probably because of the whole Kendrick and Drake thing, and everybody was kind of suspenseful about whether or not he was going to play the Not Like Us, which newsflash, he was always going to play that, and everybody kind of already knew it. But for those of you guys, I'm going to leave that video for another day. But I say all of that to say this, guys. I've not seen a single one of the NBA All-Star Weekend events this year. I have really no interest in watching it. And for me to say that as somebody who's always kind of loved basketball, it's kind of concerning to me, and it's kind of just like an indication of where the whole NBA is right now, especially because for the past couple of seasons, we've kind of heard that the NBA has been losing viewership at breakneck pace, and everybody's just kind of concerned about it, especially if you're a real basketball fan. But I think I can kind of sum it up in like three real main key points for me. The first one is the whole three-point shooting thing with every single team kind of shooting threes. The second one is about the whole entitlement of the players and whatnot. And the third one is just like life overall and people kind of just moving on with their lives. And I'm going to try to talk about it a little quickly, and I'm not going to give you guys any real clips or anything today. I just kind of want to have a heart-to-heart with you guys. With the first one, the whole NBA has kind of been going through this kind of revolution because of Steph Curry, who's the greatest three-point shooter ever and whatnot. And he's kind of ushered in this era of shooting threes and everything because it kind of plays to his fashion of basketball. And everybody's kind of, for anybody who doesn't necessarily know, the NBA is a real copycat league, and everybody's kind of been shooting more and more threes. But the problem with that is it makes everybody one-dimensional. It makes all the games kind of one-dimensional, and everybody kind of looks the same. And the fans have really caught on to this, and everybody's a little bit upset about it because, one, everybody's not Steph Curry. We get it, you guys are really skilled basketball players, and we get it that you guys are great at what you guys do. But the thing that makes Steph Curry great isn't the thing that makes all of you guys great. And when you guys start trying to emulate Steph Curry,
it doesn't work.
You guys really lose the essence of you guys' game. And when people kind of watch that and everybody's just going around shooting threes, like right now, the best team in the NBA, in my opinion, is the Boston Celtics. And literally all they do is launch threes.
it makes no sense.
They have two of probably the best 10 to 15 players in the NBA in terms of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They're really, in old school basketball, would probably be more mid-range drivers and whatnot, but they're out there shooting a ton of threes on a regular basis. They have a 7-foot center right now in Kristaps Porzingis, who should be on the block on a regular basis, but they're also shooting a bunch of threes. Their entire team is kind of centered around shooting threes, and for anybody who's been paying attention to them lately, they've been losing some games because they pretty much just are one-dimensional and they shoot threes on a regular basis. And if those threes are going in, great, they'll blow teams out. But if those threes are not going in, they lose games. And their coach, Joe Mazzulla, who I think is a really bad coach, and for anybody who wants to debate me about it, I'm cool with debating about it. I think Ime Udoka was far and away the better coach than Joe Mazzulla, and I think the only reason the Boston Celtics have been winning over the past couple of seasons is because they have more talent than everybody,
which is fine.
But whenever you notice them lose a bunch of games, it's usually because they're casting up a bunch of threes and they're missing a lot of threes, and instead of switching up the way they play, they just keep shooting threes and keep missing threes, which is why a lot of fans have been talking about this over the past like 5 years or so. Really, that's when it's kind of ramped up, and everybody's a little bit tired of it. And I want to say this as well, there's an entitlement to some of of the NBA players right now, going into my second point, and that a lot of them really feel like the fans owe them something. For whatever reason, there are guys in the NBA right now who have gotten these massive contracts, and I get it that people want to get their money and everybody kind of wants to see people earn their money or whatnot. But what we've been seeing over the past few years, especially with people like Kawhi Leonard, people like James Harden, people like Ben Simmons,
and there's more,
is that they don't really care about the game of basketball. They don't love the game of basketball in a way that I think a lot of us love the game of basketball. And for me, it's just like a slap in the face of every single fan who pays their hard-earned money. And I'm somebody who I've never been to a basketball game because I've always been kind of unable to afford those games. And now that I'm a little bit older and I can afford those games, I kind of watch some of these players right now and I'm just disgusted at what I see. So I'll never waste my money on some of these games because we don't even necessarily know who's going to be all playing in a game. So it's like if you go out and spend, let's call it $1,000 or $1,500 on a ticket to watch a game or something like that, and then you find out that your best player on the opposing team that only really comes to your town once a year isn't playing. It's one thing for these guys to be injured and not be able to play, but it's another thing entirely for them to be perfectly fine and just sitting out. And that's something that a lot of fans have been really, really upset about over the past couple of years, and I've been one of those people as well. And sometimes I'm not even like buying tickets for the games. Sometimes I'll be at home getting ready to watch a huge matchup. Like a year ago, I want to say it was Joel Embiid was about to play Nikola Jokic. For anybody who doesn't necessarily know, Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic are two of the best centers in the NBA. And we found out pretty much game day that Joel Embiid was going to be sitting out because I think it was a back-to-back or something like that. And they only really play each other like twice a year. And everybody was kind of really, really ready for this. I'm somebody who I didn't necessarily even go to the game, obviously, because they're in like Philly or Denver or whatever. And I'm in Chicago. But I was ready to watch this game on prime time. I had made all my food and I was ready to watch these two behemoths of the game go at it, and one of them was sitting out.
I was pissed.
And this is me sitting at home getting ready to watch a game. I couldn't imagine going to that game and showing up and being told essentially that Joel Embiid was going to be sitting out. I need my money back in one way, shape, or form because there's no way in hell that I paid my money for this. And a lot of people have been essentially doing that and boycotting the NBA. That's partly why I think the viewership has been going down over the past, like, let's call it 10 years or so. I think they're down like 54% now, which is a crazy number. And the whole point of the NBA Allstar game is for it to be the greatest pickup basketball game in the world. And when you watch some of these guys, especially in some of their summer workout videos or whatever, and when they're going at each other, they're not necessarily going full speed or whatever, but it looks like it's a little bit more competitive than it is when you watch them on All-Star Weekend, which is in front of everybody. Some people have paid a lot of money for this. Advertisers have paid their money for this. And these guys, by the way, mind you, are getting paid bonuses in their contracts to show up on All-Star Weekend. For them to show up on these Sundays and just give no effort whatsoever and just be lackadaisical, to me, is just a slap in the face of the paying fans. And people are completely tired of it. My final point that I want to go over a little bit is the fact that we know LeBron James, we know Kevin Durant, we know Steph Curry. These three guys are pretty much some of the greatest players in the history of the game. And some of us have watched them play throughout their entire careers, and some of us have kind of grown up watching them and rooting for them. Those guys are about to retire in a couple of years, and I think everybody kind of knows that now. And it's hard for us to kind of wrap our minds around the fact that these guys are done because they gave us so many great years in the NBA. But it's also a reflection of where we are in our lives, and that we don't necessarily care much if it's not one of those three players playing. And listen, guys, there's been this debate over the past couple of weeks or days or whatever about Kevin Durant being top 10. And newsflash, I don't think Kevin Durant is top 10, and I don't necessarily want to have that debate today. But there is the element of us wanting to talk about these guys, and we really love watching them play, and we really love what they've given us over the past few years, because we all know in some way, shape, or form innately that all of them care about the game of basketball and they truly love the game of basketball. And we don't necessarily see that in the other NBA players that are coming up. None of the superstars right now in the NBA outside of those three guys really give me the sense that they truly, truly love the game. Maybe Giannis, maybe Jokic, but that's about it. I don't necessarily get that vibe from a lot of the other guys. Maybe Anthony Edwards too, which is like three of them. But the rest of those guys, it feels like to me they just kind of show up, they collect their exorbitant checks, and they kind of go home, and they don't necessarily care about it. And a lot of us have been kind of sitting there going, if you guys don't necessarily care about the NBA, why should we care about the NBA? I'm 29 years old almost now, and I've pretty much grown up watching LeBron LeBron's career. It's year 22 for LeBron James right now, and he looks to me like one of the people who cares the most about the NBA when the other guys who don't make as much money as him, don't necessarily have the cachet or the star power that he does, or Steph Curry for that matter, don't necessarily care as much as they do. And to me, it's just like they've carried this league for a very long time, and if the rest of these guys don't start showing up in the way that they should be showing up, you're screwed.
Some people have other things to do.
You need to also give them a reason to why they want to watch your sport and why they should take the time out of pursuing the passions that they have to pursue to do that. And if you're not giving them that, then it's just is what it is. People are just going to continue to watch other things because there's an abundance of content out here. And I don't necessarily want to see the NBA fade away into obscurity, but it seems like that's exactly where it's headed. And I don't necessarily know how you guys are going to fix it, because this whole Luka Doncic thing being on the Lakers, which is the biggest franchise or whatever, it's cute and whatnot. It's something for us to talk about, but there's something for us to talk about on the internet almost every week. There's no shortage of stories. There's no shortage of crazy things happening on the internet. If people want to find something else to watch, they can do it. And nowadays has been kind of the easiest time to do that. So I'm just going to leave this video out there. I don't necessarily have much thoughts about it. And I just really, really hope the NBA gets its act together and the players get their act together, because I'm a real big basketball fan. If I'm somebody who doesn't care about All-Star Weekend and I don't necessarily care about watching your sport, how do you think the average people feel? I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the whole NBA All-Star Weekend, and if you guys watched it, and if you guys noticed yourselves losing interest in the sport as much as I have. I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this video. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I really do appreciate you. If you liked what you heard today, do me a solid and like the video, share the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Those things really do help out the channel a lot, guys. And if you didn't like what you heard, thanks for allowing me to occupy your time. Consider leaving a comment in the comments down below, letting me know exactly what it was that you disagreed with, and maybe we could talk about it. Either way, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for pressing play on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.